This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. As any parent knows, it isn't easy to get your kid into a daycare. In East St. Paul, a new daycare has not cared for a single child since it was finished more than a year ago. But despite the province paying for it to be built, as CBC's Bartlett Kivas reports, the government doesn't know who actually owns the land.
This daycare east of Highway 59 in East St. Paul was built in 2024. Walk up to the windows and you'll see cubbies for kids' jackets sitting empty and boxes full of toys that no one's used. There are 600 children on a waiting list for this daycare, but only room for 74 of them. The daycare operator wants to get inside.
And we just really hope that people can come together to get this going as quick as possible, because it is such a tragedy for the community here that we don't have the extra spaces.
The holdup at the daycare is in this building, where the NDP government says funding's frozen while it figures out who owns the daycare land.
Right now, there is some uncertainty or some lack of clarity for the province about who owns that land.
The East St. Paul daycare is one of 22 in Manitoba built in a project started by the former PC government. The daycare sits on a former golf course called The Meadows. Peguis First Nation Real Estate Trust purchased this land in 2021 and then transferred most of it in 2024 to Winnipeg developer Andrew Marquis, who used to advise the trust. The deal between Marquis and the trust calls for the real estate trust to continue owning the daycare, but the NDP government isn't satisfied.
The agreement was with Peguis First Nation Real Estate Trust. The province's expectation is that the real estate trust continues to own that land. Our understanding is right now they do not own that land.
The budget to build the daycare was $5.5 million. The province paid almost 2/3 of that tab, but then stopped forwarding money in 2024. Since then, the construction company has placed a $2.4 million lien on the land to get the rest of its money. The electricity has been cut off because no one paid the bills, and someone even broke into the vacant building last year. The province says it's working with Peguis Real Estate Trust to get the power back on and allow kids into the daycare. The operator hopes that happens sooner rather than later.
We've had staff members working tirelessly for over a year to make sure that we're ready when the time comes, and they remain excited and motivated to provide more daycare places for people in the community.
East St. Paul Council voted last year to split up the Meadows land between the Real Estate Trust and Marquis. Land titles won't reflect this until some conditions are met. Bartlett Kivas, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew says there are some encouraging signs in a landfill search for the remains of Ashley Shingoose. Kinew says the search at Brady Road Landfill has uncovered material from date ranges and trucking routes that appear to line up with Shingoose's disappearance. Excavation at the site started last month. The Premier says while there are no guarantees of success, developments so far have been positive. Jeremy Skibitsky was convicted in 2024 of killing Shingoose and 3 other women. He's serving a life sentence for first-degree murder. The remains of Morgan Harris and Mercedes Myron were found in a search at a different landfill last year. A months-long occupation of Thunderbird House is coming to an end. Protesters say they wanted to call attention to needed repairs at the Main Street Indigenous Cultural Centre. Renovation work to repair the roof began last fall, but now work needs to begin on the interior, and security on site ordered the protesters to leave. The protesters say not all of their demands have been met, but they wanted to avoid a confrontation.
So we're just going to do it the peaceful way and do what our women tell us to do. So by walking away, letting this happen, we're going to see where this goes from now, and we're going to be back to confront the board members in a peaceful manner.
The board says the occupation created hazards for people inside the building and those working there. They expect the renovation work to be completed by March. Extreme cold ripped through the province over the weekend, forcing many to stay indoors. But for those who don't have a permanent place to stay, the conditions are life-threatening. CBC's Gavin Axelrod has more.
Mitchell Peters tried to escape the bitter cold in a bus shelter near Polo Park Mall. He says it provides some warmth and helps block out the wind.
To keep warm out here, and I just find little things like this, like blankets cold, the stuff that will keep me not too cold.
On Sunday, temperatures in Winnipeg dipped to -38. Peters worries about his safety in the cold, but he avoids homeless shelters.
It gets too packed, and then at the same time, there's a lot of people, I don't know, crazy people out there.
We got some stuff in the car if you need.
Later, some relief came to him. Bear Clan members were checking bus shelters and dropping off supplies. Executive Director Kevin Walker says many people went to the shelters over the weekend, but not everyone.
It's cold enough for us, and we're out for, just a couple hours. Can you imagine what it's like being out here full time, 24 hours?
The city of Winnipeg has 705 bus shelters, but only 170 of them are heated. Walker says more could help, but the solution is housing.
People have the outreach teams in the city here get people into housing, getting them into shelter, especially on a day like this. It's really not healthy to be out here without the proper clothing and the proper resources.
Winnipeg Mayor Scott Gillingham says the city was in touch with the shelters throughout the cold snap.
If there's a case where we really need to work with them and open up city facilities, we'll do that if need be.
Timothy Day was walking and jogging around downtown Winnipeg Sunday to stay warm. He also uses places like Main Street Project and Salvation Army.
We need more warm spaces, man. It's really hard, yeah. It's really hard out there, and I'm just around somewhat. It's really cold out, yeah.
The cold is supposed to ease up slightly over the coming days, but the weather will still be hard on those without a permanent place to stay. Gavin Axelrod, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Meantime, in Steinbach, the city's homeless are seeking out shelter wherever possible. And one group wants to help give them a place to call their own. But as CBC's Christopher Garreau reports, City Hall is creating hurdles for those who want to help.
When it gets cold out, people need shelter just to survive. For people without homes in Steinbach, one of those places is here, an outdoor rink's dressing room. Trevor Burton is the only one out on the rink this frigid day. It isn't long before he retreats to the heated dressing rooms. There, he's met men who just needed a place to warm up.
I think that they probably stay warm wherever they can till wherever they go at night, I don't know, right? So
Burton says he'd like to see more help than is now available.
I think it would be helpful, yeah, somewhere so they can get on their feet, right? So
Steinbach Council says it agrees, receiving a community safety and well-being plan recently. A draft includes addressing homelessness, a priority for the more than 800 residents who gave their input. But it didn't stop council from passing a zoning change last week, adding more steps to creating transitional housing.
It puts the onus on the organization to keep the neighborhood informed and bring the neighborhood and involve the neighborhood and get them on their side.
The zoning change came just a week after getting the draft plan, calling for more shelter.
And it's totally doable. We see it all the time, but we just felt that because what happened was when there was no communication in the beginning, then the neighborhood was full of fear.
A group called The Inn is trying to build transitional housing on Main Street. Its chair says they've told the neighborhood that this is more than an emergency shelter. Staff also provide security, access to nursing, and addictions treatment.
We have lots of support from local organizations and churches, and so I would say there's definitely a recognition of the need, and there's certainly support in the community.
The plan by the Canadian Centre for Safer Communities includes actions on mental health, addictions, policing, transportation, and youth programming. A community safety and well-being plan is expected to be made publicly available in the next few weeks. For now, this is one of the few places to keep warm. Christopher Garreau, CBC News, Steinbach.
Well, it was a tough weekend to be outside in many parts of the province, but if you spent any time outside today in Winnipeg, it felt practically balmy at times compared to the last few days. Meteorologist Colette Kennedy is in now with the forecast. Colette.
Thanks, Brittany. I mean, I guess it's all relative, right? Compared to the weekend, we're doing better. Things are a little bit milder, but still the windy, gusty winds. So those conditions and blowing snow around. So not exactly pleasant, but better than what it was, some of the temperatures from this morning. I mean, considering yesterday we had wind chills where it was feeling like minus 35 to minus 40. For tonight, clearing skies, minus 22. The wind's getting a little bit lighter as well for Winnipeg, and then mostly clear as the sun will be coming up, so getting into mostly sunny skies, minus 20. Winds out of the west about 20 kilometers an hour. It is still going to feel like about minus 30 early tomorrow. And then into the afternoon hours, we might get a few more clouds, but still plenty of blue sky, and our high back up to about minus 17. And I will tell you that moving forward through the week, temperatures are below seasonal, but not as cold as they were. And we've got some sunshine in the forecast too. So all those details coming up.
All right. Thanks, Colette. Okay, balmy might have been a bit of a stretch, but pretty soon you'll be back on those outdoor rinks with more seasonal temperatures. We have much more local news straight ahead. Stay with us. He's accused of randomly attacking and stabbing a Ukrainian newcomer to death. It happened 2 years ago. And today in court, the man who was 19 at the time of the incident pleaded not guilty. CBC's Bryce Hoy reports.
Ivan Rubinik's wife held a balled-up tissue in her fist in court on Monday as witnesses described her husband's final moments on a snowy street corner just days before Christmas in 2023, less than a year after the family fled war-torn Ukraine for Winnipeg. Rubinik died in what police called a senseless, unprovoked stabbing on December 20th that year, near the corner of Watt and Talbot in Winnipeg. Ethan Gladue was charged with second-degree murder. His trial got underway Monday with Gladue pleading not guilty. One witness, a mom driving her son to daycare that day, told court she saw a man fall to his knees, clutching his chest. She called 911. An officer called to the scene also spoke in court. Constable Remy Vandendriesch said when he arrived, he saw a large patch of snow stained in blood and emergency crews doing chest compressions on Rubinik in an ambulance. Rubinik was pronounced dead at hospital. Court also heard police narrowed in on Gladue as a suspect after a report of a man aboard a transit bus in the area threatening to stab the driver, and images from a homeowner surfaced from near the scene. Constable Vandendriesch says that among the items discovered on Rubinik when he died was a binder containing his English language lessons. The trial resumes Tuesday. Bryce Hoy, CBC News, Winnipeg. Manitoba Liquor Lotteries is considering the first expansion of VLTs in the province in at least 8 years. The former PC government suspended gaming expansion in 2018. In 2023, the NDP ordered an end to that pause, but no new licenses have been issued. Now, Liquor and Lotteries says it's reviewing almost 30 requests for more VLTs, all from First Nation communities. One Tory MLA says not enough has happened since the pause was lifted.
But slow is really slow. If you haven't done any in 2 years, that's beyond slow. Like we need to push that turtle a little faster.
Some of the requests for more VLTs were submitted before the pause was implemented in 2018. The grand opening of a school addition in Swan River is being overshadowed by politics. The NDP government prevented the local MLA, Progressive Conservative Rick Wochuk, from speaking at the event. Wochuk says it's inappropriate for the government to dictate who can speak at an event it isn't organizing. But as the CBC's Ian Fraze reports, the Premier says this story isn't worth covering.
I'm so proud of the Swan Valley Regional Secondary School and this center.
MLA Rick Wochuk is reading the speech he wanted to share at the grand opening of a new cultural arts center. But the night before, Swan River School Division was forced to say no.
They had gotten instruction from the chief of staff in the Premier's office that I would not be allowed to speak.
Wochuk is the area MLA and a progressive conservative. NDP Premier Wab Kinew had this to say about the exclusion.
Show me the government announcements that we were invited to in opposition.
This was a community event. This wasn't a government announcement.
Wochuk says the two parties can cooperate. While in government, the PCs invited Kinew to see flood damage in 2022 by helicopter. More recently, an NDP minister and PC MLA spoke at the opening of Steinbach's new arena. But Kinew says he doesn't care about Wochuk's complaint.
This MLA is not a good guy. And if he wants to debate that, I would just say to everybody out there, do not Google this guy's name.
Wochuk breached legislature policy 6 years ago after showing his former constituency assistant a photo of naked women on his phone. He since apologized.
Does anyone care about some backbench PC MLA right now? No. His feelings are hurt. Who cares?
Wochuk says he won't respond with personal attacks like the Premier. Ian Fraze, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Collective bargaining through the lens of reconciliation. That's the approach Red River College Polytech and the Manitoba Government and General Employees Union are taking. A celebration of the new collective agreement started with a performance from the Thundering Grandmother Bear Drum Group. The agreement incorporates the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada's calls to action. Changes make it more inclusive, including wording around health, family, and leaves from work. The work was guided by Kukum Barbara Bruce.
Most importantly, the collective agreement recognizes the people who didn't see themselves in collective bargaining and agreements before. And it's because of the current changes made that they will recognize themselves from now on.
MGEU's president says this collaboration is a model for the rest of Canada. Well, a powerful winter storm has blanketed Toronto with nearly 60 centimeters of snow. It's the most snow ever recorded in a single day at Toronto Pearson Airport. More snow fell in just 6 hours on Sunday than the airport typically sees in an entire January. The cleanup is expected to take days. Well, here in Manitoba, after the weekend deep freeze, things can only go upwards, right? Well, Colette Kennedy has your forecast. Colette.
Thanks, Brittany. Yeah, things a little bit better today, at least in terms of our temperatures, and just taking a snapshot of some of those readings from this afternoon. I know we still had some winds, so the wind chill's significant, and those temperatures are below seasonal for this time of year, but certainly better than what they were on the weekend. But I do have to say that core of very cold air, our polar vortex, if you will, still in play further south than you might like to see it at this time of year. And really the pattern kind of heading forward for the next few days at least is that it stays, that core cold air stays in place. Now, we get closer to being kind of on the border of the milder air to the west and the cooler air to the east as we move towards the end of the week. So Manitoba will get those temperatures into the weekend anyway, some relief as they start to come up a little bit and get them a little bit above seasonal instead of riding below seasonal so much. So there is an area of low pressure and a trough, and you see some of that cloud cover plus some of the winds associated with it. But look at these clearing skies back to the west, and that's going to be carving out the clouds and clearing things out overnight tonight. And the setup is very good over the next few days in terms of the sky conditions, because with that ridge of high pressure, there's actually, it's going to get squeezed a little bit, but it stays in place over most of the province. You can see a little bit of an exception to the northeast, but that's going to allow us to have, yes, some clear skies at night, some cooler temperatures, but some nice conditions during the day too, especially as we can get into some lighter winds in there as well. Tomorrow morning, -20. It is going to feel like -30 and mostly sunny skies. Lunchtime, -19. The winds out of the west about 20 kilometers an hour, and then -17. Normal high this time of year is -12. So, but keep in mind, we're getting our overnight temperatures up 4 or 5 degrees from what we've been experiencing. So looking forward through the week, there you go. Wednesday, -19. Not a big difference, right, from the overnight lows and the daytime highs. Thursday, -19 too. But look at the sunshine throughout. And you'll notice, I hope you do, let me point it out, on Saturday, the temperatures are coming up a bit. And that's when we start to get that little bit of a bump in our temps. And I'll tell you, that will lead us into next week pretty nicely for a few days there where the temperatures are a bit milder. Brittany?
All right. Thanks, Colette. Well, we have much more to come straight ahead. Stay with us. It looks like U.S. President Donald Trump may be trying to calm the crisis over ICE in Minnesota. There are unconfirmed reports he's pulling back some of the federal immigration agents sent to the state. It's happening following the fatal shooting of an American-born protester over the weekend. That and the growing protests ICE actions have triggered on the streets and in the courts. Katie Nicholson reports.
Smoke bombs detonated in the night as an evening of unrest spilled over to a day of court action.
I stand here with Renee Good in my heart and in my mind, and with Alex Preddy in my heart, in my mind, and their families.
The state of Minnesota trying to secure a temporary restraining order on ICE operations. No ruling yet, but the Attorney General voiced his resolve to keep pushing.
If things go our way, great. If they don't, we're right back to the drawing board. The moment will never arrive when we stop fighting for this state. Full stop.
While a separate lawsuit began so state investigators could access evidence in the current federal investigations into Alex Preddy's killing. Preddy's death was caught on camera from several angles. The nurse who worked at a veterans hospital shot multiple times on Saturday by Border Patrol agents working with ICE. The White House heaped a healthy portion of the blame for the tragedy elsewhere.
Democrat leaders in Minnesota with sanctuary city policies have actively defied federal immigration law and the will of the people. And as a result of that defiance, 2 Minnesotans have now tragically lost their lives on the streets.
The Trump administration and state and local leaders have been at loggerheads since this ICE surge began, disagreeing on its legality, scope, and tactics. But after a call with Minnesota Governor Tim Walz Monday, U.S. President Donald Trump posted, "It was a very good call, and we actually seem to be on a similar wavelength." In a statement on the call, Walz noted the president also agreed to look into reducing the number of federal agents in Minnesota and working with the state in a more coordinated fashion. And there is something of a changing of the guard, as Trump's border czar Tom Homan heads to Minnesota to be Trump's main contact on the ground. While outspoken Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino and some of his agents are reportedly set to leave. In the midst of all these shifts, sorrow. Those who knew Alex Preddy trying to heal, including one of his patients.
He took 20 minutes with me and sat with me and even said a prayer with me. He held my hand and he told me things were going to get better.
Outside the hospital where he worked, a single candle flickers in the snow. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Washington.
Manitoba's premier is watching events in Minneapolis closely. Wab Kinew says after a man was shot and killed by a Border Patrol agent, he reached out to Minnesota Governor Tim Walz to send his support, which was met with appreciation. And Kinew has a message for the U.S. president.
Mr. Trump, stop killing American citizens. The idea of trying to protect Americans from the bad parts of immigration by killing American citizens doesn't make any sense. We're going to get a trade deal. We're going to do business with the U.S. But we also have to be able to speak with integrity and look at ourselves in the mirror at the end of this. And at a time when you're seeing terrible things like are happening right next to us, we have to speak out.
Some Canadians will be getting help in covering the high cost of groceries. Prime Minister Mark Carney has announced an increase to the GST credit aimed at lower-income Canadians. Carney says this initiative delivers on a promise he made to Canadians when he was elected.
We were very clear when we ran in the last election what we intended to do. Very clear, very detailed platform, and we are delivering on that. We invite Parliament to support us in it.
In July, the federal government will give those eligible for the credit a one-time 50% top-up payment. That means a family of 4 will receive almost $1,900 this year. They will also receive a 25% GST credit increase in each of the next 4 years. The government says the GST credit will help as many as 12 million Canadians. The Liberal government says the increase will cost $3.1 billion in the first year alone. In the past week, more than 10,000 federal employees were officially informed their jobs may be on the line. It's all part of the Carney government's plan to cut the number of workers by 10% over the next 4 years. Marina von Stackelberg shows us the fear in a civil service that's about to shrink drastically.
With thousands of jobs on the line, many public servants are now finding out if they'll soon be out of work.
Everyone's very stressed, a bit depressed.
And they're scared to talk about it. CBC News is keeping this employee anonymous and changing her voice over her fear speaking publicly could get her fired.
Our whole office has been told we might be affected, and they're waiting to let us know based on how much of our job they can replace with AI.
The letter she got says new technologies, including artificial intelligence, present us with opportunities to streamline. Consequently, you have been identified as an affected employee. The Carney government is making good on its promise to thin the bureaucracy, sending out workforce adjustment notices, meaning workers could face reassignment or layoff. Staff at Global Affairs and Health Canada are the latest to get them.
Right now, we don't know which department will be hit next and what services will be cut.
You cannot cut public service science and health departments and their staff without increasing public risk.
Unions say Canadians will feel the impact. The government says the opposite.
The services will be as good and better as we move forward with a bold agenda to transform government using new technologies.
This former senior bureaucrat says the public service has grown faster than it should have.
The result is a public service that's too big, doesn't work as efficiently as it should, and frankly, there's often too many people doing too many different things that don't need to be done.
The federal government says it's doing what it can to limit layoffs. That includes offering buyout packages for early retirement. But the unions liken this to the Hunger Games, with coworkers who sat beside each other now battling it out for a job. Marina von Stackelberg, CBC News, Ottawa.
The federal government has conditionally approved Marineland's request to export its remaining belugas. Federal Fisheries Minister Jan.26 says the approval is only for specific U.S. institutions. Marineland recently told Ottawa it will euthanize its 30 captive belugas and 4 dolphins if it doesn't get export permits. The now closed amusement park near Niagara Falls has been in talks with some aquariums in the U.S. It shut its doors to the public in 2024 following years of controversy after 20 whales died at the facility. Accessible seating at concerts and sporting events is supposed to make events inclusive. But a BC man who often requires a wheelchair says it doesn't always work out that way. Erica Johnson with our Go Public team went to have a look at who's actually using those spaces.
How often is it sold out?
More and more often.
For Bob Cost, trying to buy accessible seating tickets for a hockey game at Vancouver's Rogers Arena is often frustrating. His son Michael suffered a severe brain injury after a car accident 20 years ago. He says an occasional hockey game or concert would bring joy.
I like to enjoy the small, simple things like a hockey game.
Problem is, they say, Ticketmaster uses an honor system online, so anyone willing to fib can buy tickets to accessible seating. Designed for people to maneuver mobility devices, there's plenty of legroom and chairs that friends and attendants can pull up. But Bob says sometimes people sit there who shouldn't, like 2 men he overheard at a hockey game he did manage to get tickets to.
They were bragging about being able to buy these tickets even though they had no disability. I was so frustrated to hear those comments.
He acknowledges some people may have invisible disabilities or be accompanying someone. That may have been the case when we attended a concert and saw only 2 wheelchairs out of 30 seats, most people walking in and out, some dancing.
And we have to show this.
Bob points out you need a disability pass for parking. He says similarly, Rogers Arena should require people to prove they need those seats.
Why can they not introduce some sort of a a system.
In the UK, thousands of venues and events do use a verification system. But the owners of Rogers Arena said the venue respects fans' privacy and some disabilities may be invisible.
It sounds like they're trying to use disability inclusion language against people with disabilities in order to defend their complete inaction.
Legally, he says, venues that want to ensure accessibility can ask fans to provide proof, but can't ask for details. Ticketmaster also says it wants to preserve fans' privacy. Ticketmaster abides by that verification system in the UK, but told Go Public in Canada it would be too difficult to implement. Erica Johnson, CBC News, Vancouver.
Canadian Ryan Wedding appears in a federal courtroom in California on Monday, where he pleaded not guilty to charges related to murder and drug trafficking. Wedding is a former Olympic snowboarder and was apprehended in Mexico last week. He was then transported to the U.S. The 44-year-old had been on the run for a decade and was on the FBI's most wanted list. The American Law Enforcement Agency says 36 people have been arrested for being part of Wedding's alleged crime network. A ferry sank in the Philippines Monday, leaving at least 18 people dead. The vessel was carrying more than 350 people when it went down. The ferry, which was carrying passengers and cargo, experienced technical problems around midnight. It suddenly tilted to one side, sending people into the sea. Survivors said the waters in the area were rough at the time. Authorities have launched an investigation. Still ahead, the pickleball craze continues, and now there's a new place to play in Winnipeg, the American chain that's found a new home in Manitoba. Next. Pickleball continues to rise in popularity across the country, and now there's a new place to play in Winnipeg. The Pickler is a U.S.-based chain of indoor court facilities, and it's opened its first Canadian location here in Winnipeg. Take a look.
I fell in love with the sport over a year and a half ago, and I've made lots of connections through pickleball, and I play lots with my friends. I play probably 3-4 times a week. I play volleyball, and then this was a nice transition sport that you can play with even more people and all the time.
The facility itself is just beautiful from what I've seen so far. It's a nice, welcome, warm environment. Lots of places to stand and sit and socialize. So I think it's going to be good for the city.
Our plan is to have 3 in Winnipeg in the next 5 years, but we had a serious lack of courts, especially indoor. People were playing on gym floors in the basement of churches, which isn't very conducive to playing it properly. Here, you're going to play on an actual court. What you would see on the PPA tours, what you're going to play on here. We need more of that, whether it's from us or somebody else, because people want to play pickleball, and let's let them play.
I think it's the socialization. I mean, a lot of people just get together and play. It's just an easy sport to play, too, if you're just learning. A lot of the people are very accommodating. At least starting out, and then it gets competitive. But like anything, and I'm somewhat competitive too with myself, so it's fun, it's good exercise.
Pickleball is exploding. It was exploding 2 years ago and it hasn't stopped. Everybody seems to be playing pickleball, whether it be at a beginner level or they've moved on to an advanced level and are competing in tournaments. It's such a fun sport. Its social aspect is getting to be similar to curling, where you have a game and you have a couple cold drinks afterward and a few laughs and jump back on. It's just something everybody can do, from young to old and everybody in between.
And of course, something you can do indoors, which many people were looking for things to do this weekend during that deep freeze here in the province. But it's not just us in Manitoba dealing with sub-zero temperatures or troublesome weather. Colette Kennedy, and now with your forecast. Colette.
Thanks, Brittany. Yeah, let's just kind of have a look at the big picture. We know the floodgates opened, the polar vortex allowed that very cold air in place. Over the weekend, those wind chills, -35, -40, and colder, I realize that. A snapshot, though, of the temperatures from the weekend, and now looking, or from today, earlier today, the wind chills. And you do notice there's still that core of cold air. We've got a lot of it in Manitoba, but into Saskatchewan. And in fact, there are still some lingering yellow level cold warnings that are in place, so we're sort of sandwiched in between. Doesn't mean these couldn't be expanded, but to the west of us and to the east into northwestern Ontario as well. But what's going to be happening is we actually get into some nice clearing skies overnight tonight, setting us up with a really dominant ridge of high pressure that's going to be making its way in, and it gives us sun during the daylight hours over the next several days. So that's going to be very pleasant. Also, I know the wind's very blustery through the day today. We'll get some improvement there too, and getting into some lighter winds. Doesn't mean there won't be a wind chill, but things will just be a little bit more comfortable. So all in all, even with temperatures a little below seasonal, we're talking about a decent week going forward and not as cold as where we have been. So just kind of running you through the day. I know from morning to afternoon, those temperatures only changing about 2-3 degrees. And for the Inner Lakes region, we're talking, -22 over towards Gimli, -24, Winnipeg, -22 to start the day off. And then as we move through the afternoon hours, heating things up at least to get us into the mid-teens, not quite to a normal high this time of year of -12, but hey, it's a little bit better. And this is better. Chaos, there, that'll warm your heart. He seems to have the fur to not mind the snow there and having a good old time, just relaxing. Norman Aileen, thank you for sending that sweetheart in. And how about how it looks for Chaos and all our dog walkers for tomorrow? We're talking -20 early and -17 by the afternoon. And the only reason I put some yellow paws in there is, of course, because of the cold and the wind chills we'll be contending with.
All right, thanks, Colette. People across Minnesota have been taking part in protests and even an economic blackout in response to the federal immigration crackdown. It comes after the killing of Alex Preddy, the 37-year-old intensive care unit nurse who was fatally shot by an immigration officer. Wes Burdine is a bar owner in the city who closed up shop in solidarity this weekend. He spoke with Chloe Friesen about how he's feeling.
I'm actually surprised at how angry I still am. Not at Walls, but he's speaking to a real truth, which is that we're going to get punched in the face, and we are non-violently resisting an occupation of our city, and we're going to continue to get punched in the face, and they might continue to kill people, and we're going to continue to resist.
How are people doing after such an intense weekend?
Not good. I'm going to say people are trying to get by and trying to rally themselves. My hope was that today was going to be rallying for me. I think Friday with the strike and 50,000 people marching in extreme cold it felt like pushing back, and it felt like we were really fighting. And then Saturday was a real gut punch. Seeing a man who was helping another woman get shot, and then them call him a violent person who wanted to massacre people is infuriating, and it's extremely hard to process those kinds of emotions. And I ran into a lot of people. Saturday our bar was open, and it was really tough to see people and to see them try to rally themselves. But it's a lot of pain right now.
Our cities are not too far away from each other, and we're seeing footage on the news. But from your perspective, what's it like out there as you're protesting, as you're in these cold conditions, but so many people are still coming out? Can you describe the scene, the feeling?
Yeah, I will say most of what happens here is not protesting. Most of what people are doing and rallying themselves is going and bringing groceries to families that they have adopted who are living in secret in hiding. Most of it is collecting diapers and making sure those families have diapers. Most of it is going out on the streets and making sure that the second ICE want to try to kidnap and abduct one of our neighbors, that we're drawing attention to it. And so most of that's not protesting. That's neighbors coming out and supporting neighbors. Now, people have been protesting, especially since the killing of Alex Preddy. And the mood there is really solemn, and it's really painful, and a lot of anger as well. And I'm very grateful that Minnesotans are stronger and more mature than the creeps who are in our streets, because we're holding ourselves back.
You've been following and documenting ICE. How do you feel about doing that? How do you feel about being in that role after the death of Alex Preddy, who was doing the same thing this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it really brings it home that all I'm doing is everything I'm doing is completely illegal, and that they can shoot you down on the street for it. And it brings home just a basic fact, which is that they can do whatever they want. And if they have to, then that's fine. The whole reason of this resistance is for us to get in between them and the people they're trying to terrorize. And certainly they're terrorizing the white population here as well, but they are trying to nab and harass and terrorize every brown and black person in Minnesota. And I'm just not going to let them. And so if that puts me in harm's way, then I just don't care.
Wes, one of the responses to ICE crackdowns is the economic blackout. You're taking part with your business. Why was that important for you to do?
At first, I didn't understand why it was. I mean, I understand strikes, but it felt like, why are small businesses bearing the burden of this when Target, Best Buy, Medtronic, 3M, all of our major companies, Fortune 500 companies in the Twin Cities and in Minnesota, are ignoring it? But then as people started to sign up and push forward, I got on pretty early, convinced by my employees that it was important, that we can make this sacrifice. The switch changed in my brain, which is that it is important for us to send a big message. And if all of us do it, if over 1,000 businesses shut down, it's not the economic message. It's just the historical moment message that we're able to send to them. And and it was a sacrifice for us, but in the end, not that big. People came out on Thursday and Saturday to support. People sent money. People bought a lot of T-shirts. I'm gonna be spending a couple weeks sending out T-shirts. And in the end, there's a bunch of other businesses already bearing the brunt of the economic terrorism going on from Trump.
Still ahead, we'll slide back into the work week, and Colette Kennedy will have one last check on our forecast. Stay with us. Well, the cold weather didn't stop the fun at Roblin Park Community Centre for their winter carnival over the weekend. Folks took turns slip-sliding down the toboggan run, and they'll soon have a new double slide to ride down. Sledders will be able to go down as a pair and race each other. The project costs $100,000 and the money is split equally from the Mayor's office and the ward allowance of Charleswood Tuxedo Westwood Councillor Evan Duncan.
Welcome back. A chance to look at the temperatures through the week and how they're better than the weekend, although still below seasonal, but accompanied by multiple days where we have high pressure in place, and so we get a good amount of sunshine coming through. Then what I really want you to focus on, if you're looking for things a little milder, that as we head towards the weekend, the temperatures, these daytime highs, even the overnight lows, coming up above seasonal for a change. And that not only goes through to Monday, I'm here to tell you it actually looks like it may extend through next week. Then when we get to that following weekend, things start to cool down once again. But we have this to look forward to. Brittany.
All right, thanks, Colette. Well, frigid temperatures over the weekend didn't dampen the spirits for a group of youth taking part in a very special weekend. On Saturday, the Winnipeg Jets kicked off their 8th annual Winnipeg Aboriginal Sport Achievement Centre weekend at Camp Manitou in Headingley. 30 Indigenous youths from northern and remote communities joined a few Jets alumni on the ice. It was all part of the Jets WASAC weekend.
What we're trying to do is build youth leadership, so giving them access to a bunch of events and experiences that they might not otherwise have had is just beneficial to all, and who knows what they take from this, but we hope it's something positive.
May have been cold, but the hearts were warm. The weekend also included a cooking and nutrition skills class, along with a mental health and wellness session. Just a great chance to get all of those youth out and on the ice, even if it was cold. You just got to skate a little faster, right? Well, that's all for us here tonight. I hope you stay safe and stay warm outside. I'll see you back here tomorrow night.